Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. Vincent Dell sat stiffly in a plain room with bright lights. He looked at the shiny oak table in front of him. Every few seconds, he tapped his fingers on his tight, dark blue blazer. Vincent had ironed this suit himself and bought it with his own money. His red tie matched the company's logo, but he kept twisting it in his hands because he was nervous. He always worried he might twist it so much that he would hurt his finger. Suddenly, the VP spoke, and Vincent jumped. Did he hear that right? Congratulations, Jennifer Hoover, on your new role as our creative director. The room filled with soft clapping. Vincent clapped too, but his hands made empty sounds. He felt disappointed. Vincent, could you stay behind? The VP said as the others began to leave. Vincent stayed in his seat and watched everyone go. Jennifer looked at him and gave a small, kind smile. This made him clench his jaw. When the door shut, Vincent sat up straighter. I know you wanted the promotion, the VP said as he fixed his glasses. But we have a different job for you. It's a new project that needs your skills. What kind of project? Marketing campaign for our upcoming game. Magical Transformations. The Sorcerer's Apprentice returns. It's a priority release, and we need someone who understands our core audience. Vincent's enthusiasm deflated further. A kid's game. After 5 years of building his reputation on mature titles, they wanted him to sell magic and fairy tales. I appreciate the opportunity, but it's not a request, Vincent. The project starts Monday. Linda from development will brief you on the details. The walk back to his cubicle stretched forever. His black leather shoes clicked against the tile floor, each step echoing his frustration. He slumped into his ergonomic chair and stared at the motivational poster on his wall. Dream big, work hard, make magic. The irony wasn't lost on him. The rest of the week passed in a blur of meetings, design documents, and forced enthusiasm. Every presentation about the game's revolutionary gender-swapping mechanics and immersive transformation sequences made Vincent's eye twitch. By Friday evening, he'd consumed enough coffee to fill the Seven Seas Lagoon and developed a permanent scowl. He loosened his tie as he entered his apartment, tossing his keys onto the kitchen counter. The one-bedroom space felt smaller than usual, the walls closing in with each passing hour. Vincent grabbed a beer from the fridge and collapsed onto his brown leather couch. Magical Transformations, he muttered, taking a long swig. What's next? Singing mice? The game's promotional materials lay scattered across his coffee table. Concept art depicted wizards casting spells, characters morphing between forms, and the iconic sorcerer's hat glowing with mystical energy. Vincent pushed them aside and reached for the remote. 3 beers later, his eyelids grew heavy. The television droned on about some late-night infomercial, while Vincent's thoughts spiraled through resentment and disappointment. Jennifer's promotion, the kitty game, 5 years of dedication, meaning nothing. Sleep crept up on him like fog rolling in from the bay. The room temperature plummeted. Vincent's eyes snapped open to find his breath visible in the suddenly frigid air. The television had turned to static, casting eerie shadows across the walls. A figure materialized in the center of his living room. Tall, draped in blue robes with star patterns that seemed to move of their own accord. Who the hell? Silence. The figure raised a hand, and Vincent's voice died in his throat. You dare mock the ancient arts? Dismiss the power of transformation as child's play? Vincent recognized the character from the game materials, Yen Sid, the sorcerer from Fantasia, but this wasn't possible. Game characters didn't manifest in living rooms. The beer, it had to be the beer. This is a dream. Vincent tried to stand, but found himself frozen to the couch. A dream? Yen Sid's eyes glowed beneath his pointed hat. Perhaps? Or perhaps a lesson long overdue. You believe transformation to be fantasy, something beneath your talents. Let me show you the reality of change. The sorcerer's hands began weaving intricate patterns in the air. Blue and silver light trailed from his fingertips, forming symbols Vincent didn't recognize. The temperature dropped further, frost spreading across the windows. Wait, You will understand the power you so carelessly dismissed. You will experience transformation not as fantasy, but as truth. The magical energy coalesced into a sphere of pure light hovering between them. Yen Sid pushed it forward with both hands, and it struck Vincent square in the chest. Fire and ice coursed through his veins simultaneously. His vision blurred, the room spinning like a carnival ride gone wrong. Pain lanced through every cell as his body began to shift. Bones restructured themselves with audible cracks. Muscle mass redistributed, while his skin tingled as if covered in television static. Vincent tried to scream, but produced only a strangled gasp that sounded foreign to his own ears. His chest expanded outward while his waist pulled inward. Hair sprouted from his scalp, growing past his shoulders in waves of blonde silk. The changes accelerated, hips widening, shoulders narrowing, facial features softening into delicate curves. His hands shrank, fingers becoming slender and elegant. The transformation reached a crescendo before suddenly stopping. Vincent collapsed backward, gulping air into lungs that felt too small. When he looked down, 2 mounds pushed against his white undershirt. His suit hung loose in all the wrong places, tight in others. "What did you do to me?" The voice that emerged was high, melodious, completely feminine. "Granted you understanding." Yen Sid's form began to fade. "Magic is not mere entertainment, Vincent. Or should I say, Vivian? You'll find your old life has been rewritten. Reality has shifted to accommodate your new form. Learn from this experience, or remain as you are, forever." "Change me back!" Vivian lunged forward, but her hands passed through empty air. The sorcerer had vanished, leaving only the scent of ozone and mystery. The room spun again, darkness creeping in from the edges of vision. Vivian's legs gave out, and she crumpled to the floor. The last thing she saw before unconsciousness claimed her was her reflection in the television screen. A beautiful woman with long blonde hair and delicate features staring back in horror. Sunlight stabbed through the blinds like accusatory fingers. Vivian groaned and pushed herself up from the floor, her body aching in unfamiliar ways. The events of the night rushed back. The sorcerer, the transformation, the impossible made real. "Please be a dream," she whispered, then froze. The feminine voice still emerged from her throat. She stumbled to the bathroom, flicking on the light with trembling fingers. The mirror revealed the truth in harsh detail. Gone was Vincent's angular jaw and short brown hair. In their place stood a woman with porcelain skin, full lips, and blonde hair that cascaded past her shoulders. Blue eyes, the same shade as before, but framed by long lashes, stared back in disbelief. "This can't be happening." Vivian touched her face, watching the reflection mirror every movement. Real, impossibly, undeniably real. Her men's clothing hung off her new frame like a child playing dress-up. The white undershirt draped loosely except where her breasts pushed against the fabric. The navy suit pants required both hands to keep from sliding off her narrowed hips. A knock at the door made her jump. "Pizza delivery!" Pizza? She hadn't ordered, but her stomach growled, reminding her that magic transformations apparently worked up an appetite. Vivian grabbed a 20 from her wallet, thankfully still in the same place, and shuffled to the door, one hand holding up the oversized pants. "That'll be $15.50. The delivery boy's eyes widened as he took in her disheveled appearance. "Rough night, miss?" Miss, the word hit like a physical blow. Vincent would have gotten sir or buddy, but standing here in an oversized men's shirt with long blonde hair tangled from sleep, she was unmistakably Miss. "Something like that." Vivian handed over the 20. "Keep the change." "Thanks. Have a great morning, ma'am." "Ma'am." She closed the door and leaned against it, pizza box balanced in one hand. The casual acknowledgement of her femininity from a complete stranger drove home the reality. This wasn't a hallucination or an elaborate prank. Somehow, impossibly, magic had rewritten her existence. The pizza tasted like cardboard, but Vivian forced herself to eat. She needed energy to figure out what came next. Yen Sid had mentioned her old life being rewritten. What did that mean? Would she show up to work on Monday as Vivian? Did her coworkers remember Vincent at all? Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. A text from her boss. Hope you're enjoying the weekend, Vivian. Looking forward to your fresh perspective on the Magical Transformations campaign Monday. Vivian. Her boss had used the feminine name without hesitation. She scrolled through her contacts, finding profile pictures had changed. In every photo where Vincent had stood, Vivian now appeared. Same locations, same clothes fitted to a feminine frame, same smile, but on different lips. Reality shifted, she muttered, remembering the sorcerer's words. Not just her body, but the entire timeline had changed. Vincent Dell had never existed. There had always been Vivian Dell, junior marketing executive at Disney Interactive Studios. She spent the rest of Saturday exploring her transformed life. Her closet contained women's clothing, professional blazers in navy and black, silk blouses in white and cream, pencil skirts that would hug curves Vincent never had. The bathroom held makeup she didn't know how to apply, and hair products for maintenance she didn't understand. Her driver's license showed her new face with the name Vivian Dell, height adjusted to 5'4" instead of Vincent's 5'10". Bank accounts, social media profiles, even her high school yearbook photos, all featured the woman she'd become. It was thorough, complete, and terrifying in its implications. Sunday arrived with a new challenge: clothes shopping. The men's clothing filling her drawers might have been transformed in photos, but physically, she owned nothing that fit. Vivian pulled on the least ridiculous combination, a shirt tied at the waist and pants held up with a belt on its tightest notch, and ventured to the mall. "Can I help you find anything?" The sales associate at Target approached with a practiced smile. "Everything," Vivian admitted. "I need a complete wardrobe. Professional clothes for work, casual wear, undergarments." She trailed off, heat rising to her cheeks. "Starting fresh? I love a good wardrobe overhaul. Let's start with basics and build from there." 3 hours later, Vivian emerged with bags full of necessities. Bras that actually supported her new anatomy, underwear that fit properly, jeans that hugged her hips without falling down. She'd chosen simple styles, solid colors, classic cuts, nothing that screamed for attention. The sales associate had helped with sizing, pretending not to notice Vivian's awkward unfamiliarity with women's clothing conventions. Back home, she laid out an outfit for Monday: a black pencil skirt, white silk blouse, and black flats. Professional, understated, and completely foreign to someone who'd worn suits and ties for 5 years. The irony wasn't lost on her. She'd have to market a transformation game while living her own magical metamorphosis. Monday morning arrived too quickly. Vivian stood before the bathroom mirror, attempting to wrangle her blonde hair into something presentable. YouTube tutorials had become her best friend, teaching her basic ponytails and how to apply minimal makeup. The result wouldn't win beauty contests, but she looked professional enough to face the office. The black skirt hugged her hips as she walked to her car, each step a reminder of how different her body moved. Where Vincent had stridden with long, confident steps, Vivian found herself taking smaller, more measured movements. The heels, even low ones, changed her entire posture. Disney Interactive Studios looked the same from the outside, but everything felt different as Vivian badged in. The security guard smiled and waved, clearly recognizing her despite the recognition being impossible. Her co-workers greeted her normally, as if Vivian Dell had always existed. "Morning, Vivian," Jennifer Hoover called out. "Ready for the big presentation?" Presentation. Right. The Magical Transformations campaign brief she'd been dreading. Now, living her own transformation, the project took on new meaning. As ready as I'll ever be. Vivian settled into her cubicle, the chair height already adjusted for her smaller frame. The conference room filled with developers, artists, and executives. Vivian clutched her portfolio, white blouse suddenly feeling too thin under the fluorescent lights. Linda from development began the presentation, explaining game mechanics, while Vivian's mind wandered to her own magical experience. "The transformation sequences are our key selling point," Linda explained. Players will experience realistic changes as their characters shift between forms. We've put extensive research into making these transitions feel authentic. Authentic. Vivian suppressed a bitter laugh. If only they knew how authentic transformation could be. Vivian, would you share your marketing approach? All eyes turned to her. Vivian stood, smoothing her black skirt, and walked to the front. The presentation she'd prepared as Vincent felt hollow now, corporate buzzwords about target demographics and engagement metrics. She set aside her notes. Transformation isn't just a game mechanic. Her voice carried new conviction. It's about discovering who you really are beneath the surface. Our campaign should focus on that journey, the fear, the wonder, the acceptance of becoming something new. The room fell silent. Vivian continued, drawing from her own experience while framing it as marketing strategy. She spoke about the vulnerability of change, the courage required to face a new reflection, the strength found in accepting an unexpected path. We're not just selling a game, she concluded. We're offering an experience that resonates with anyone who's ever felt trapped in the wrong life. Applause filled the room. Even the VP nodded approval. Jennifer caught her after the meeting, green eyes bright with excitement. That was incredible. Where did that passion come from? Last week you seemed so disconnected from the project. Last week, Vincent had been disconnected. But Vivian understood transformation intimately now. Sometimes you need a new perspective, she offered. The weeks passed in a blur of campaign development and personal adjustment. Vivian learned to navigate her new existence. How to sit in a skirt, apply mascara without poking her eye, style her blonde hair into professional looks. Her co-workers treated her as they always had, with no memory of Vincent Dell. The Magical Transformations campaign launched to incredible success. Critics praised its emotional depth and authentic portrayal of change. Players connected with the transformation mechanics in ways previous games hadn't achieved. Vivian watched the reviews pour in from her desk, wearing a navy blazer over a cream blouse, finally comfortable in her new skin. Knock, knock. Jennifer appeared at her cubicle. The VP wants to see you. Vivian's stomach fluttered. Another promotion opportunity? She followed Jennifer to the executive floor, her black heels clicking confidently on the tile. Vivian, excellent work on the campaign. The VP gestured to a chair. We're expanding the franchise and want you to head the entire marketing division for our transformative experiences line. The promotion Vincent had wanted earned by embracing what he'd initially rejected. Vivian accepted with grace, no longer bitter about the path that led her here. That evening, she celebrated alone in her apartment, wearing comfortable jeans and a soft pink sweater. The magical transformation had been a curse that became a gift, teaching her authenticity Vincent had never possessed. She raised a glass of wine to the empty room. "Thank you, Yensid," she whispered, "for showing me who I really am." The lights flickered once, perhaps acknowledgement, perhaps coincidence. Vivian no longer questioned magic's existence. She'd lived it, breathed it, become it. Tomorrow would bring new challenges in her marketing role, but tonight, she simply existed as herself. Vivian Dell, transformed and finally whole. Her phone buzzed with congratulations from coworkers, messages from family members who remembered only Vivian, never Vincent, photos on social media showing her journey from childhood to now, all featuring the woman she'd become. The magic had been thorough, completely rewriting history to accommodate her new truth. She walked to her bedroom, catching her reflection in the full-length mirror. The blonde hair that had once felt foreign now framed her face naturally. The feminine curves that had shocked her that first morning now simply existed as part of who she was. Vincent's resentment and bitterness had transformed along with the body, leaving Vivian with clarity and purpose. The Magical Transformations franchise expanded over the following months. Vivian spearheaded campaigns that spoke to the heart of change, earning industry recognition and personal satisfaction. She mentored junior marketers, sharing wisdom about embracing unexpected paths and finding strength in transformation. 1 year after her magical encounter, Vivian stood before a conference hall filled with industry professionals. She wore a tailored red dress that commanded attention, her blonde hair styled in elegant waves. The presentation screen behind her displayed the Magical Transformations logo. "Transformation isn't just about changing forms," she began, confidence radiating from every word. "It's about discovering truth beneath illusion, finding courage to become who you're meant to be." The audience hung on every word as Vivian shared marketing insights wrapped in deeper truths. She spoke of authenticity, of embracing change rather than fighting it, of finding magic in unexpected places. The campaign had won numerous awards, but more importantly, it had touched lives. After the presentation, a young marketing student approached nervously. "Ms. Dell, your work on magical transformations inspired me to pursue marketing. The way you capture the emotional journey of change, it's like you really understand what transformation means." Vivian smiled, adjusting her red dress. "Sometimes life gives us unexpected lessons. The key is remaining open to the magic when it appears." The student nodded eagerly and hurried off. Vivian gathered her materials, catching sight of herself in the conference room windows. The reflection showed a successful woman who'd found her path through the most unlikely circumstances. Her phone displayed a notification, another award nomination for the Magical Transformations campaign. Vincent would have seen it as validation of talent. Vivian recognized it as confirmation that authentic experience created the most powerful messages. The drive home took her past Disney Interactive Studios. The building where Vincent had felt trapped now represented Vivian's liberation. She'd transformed more than just physically. The magic had revealed a truth that had always existed beneath the surface. Her apartment welcomed her with familiar comfort. The closet full of women's clothes no longer felt like a costume department, but simply her wardrobe. The makeup on the bathroom counter wasn't a mystery, but tools she'd mastered. The blonde hair she brushed each night wasn't a curse, but part of her identity. Vivian poured herself wine and settled onto the brown leather couch where everything had changed. The Magical Transformations game played on her television, its transformation sequences beautifully animated. Players worldwide experienced virtual change, but none understood the reality as she did. "To unexpected magic," she toasted the empty room, remembering Yen Sid's visit. The game showed a character transforming, pixels rearranging into new configurations. Vivian watched with appreciation for both the artistry and the truth behind it. Transformation meant letting go of who you thought you were to discover who you truly are. Her journey from Vincent to Vivian had taught her that. The resentful man who'd dismissed magic as childish had needed to experience it firsthand. The woman who emerged understood that transformation wasn't about losing yourself, but finding yourself. The wine glass emptied as evening settled over Orlando. Vivian prepared for bed, changing into soft pajamas that felt natural against her skin. Tomorrow brought new campaigns, new challenges, new opportunities to share the magic of transformation with the world. But tonight, she simply existed as herself, Vivian Dell, marketing director, transformation expert, and living proof that magic could rewrite reality in the most unexpected ways. The sorcerer's spell had been both curse and blessing, punishment and gift, ending and beginning. As sleep approached, Vivian smiled at the ceiling. Somewhere in the multiverse, Vincent Dell might still exist, bitter, resentful, trapped in his narrow worldview. But here, in this reality, Vivian had found freedom through magical intervention. The last thought before dreams claimed her was gratitude. Gratitude for the sorcerer who'd seen her truth. Gratitude for the magic that revealed it. Gratitude for the transformation that had saved her from a life of bitter mediocrity. Vivian Dell slept peacefully, her blonde hair spread across the pillow, finally at home in the body and life magic had granted her. The transformation was complete, irreversible, and absolutely perfect. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.